Hey friends, welcome to the Conversion of St. Paul's YouTube channel. Here, we're having a segment referred to as the Thursday Recaps. My name is Jeremiah Bartley and I'll be your host for today. Now, are you looking for some spiritually enlightening content, something faith-driven, something shorter than the usual 2 to 3 hour long services, but still packing that punch enough to get you through the rest of the week and get you to that next Sunday? Or are you just looking for some faith-based content of any sort? If any of those things happen to be you, if any of those things happen to be your situation, I should say, you came to the right place. For today, we'll be looking at the reading that was done last Sunday, which was Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. We'll be having the reading done by Sister Sanchia, and the message will be brought to us by Sister Roulette. So with that said, let's recap.
A reading from the Word of God, written in St. Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." The word of the Lord.
Thursday's recap with Romero. And for this one, I'd like to call this one, Whose Time, Who's Right? But first, let us say a prayer. Abba, we thank you for your open arms of forgiveness. We are grateful for your kind mercies, such as food to eat, place to sleep, another clean sweep of the women's 100 meters at the World Championship, and the investment of time and money in the growth of your kingdom. Amen. Now, on this occasion, I've been asked to give my view on the last Sunday's sermon from Luke 10, 38 to 42, priorities. And we have as our players Mary and Martha, disciples of Jesus. And they were seen at what might have been their best interactions with Jesus at their home, in the village, in Bethany. And from the looks of things, they were loved by Jesus. Lazarus, Mary, Martha, that family, there was this closeness. And commentators have said that these women were the most conspicuous women in the life of Jesus after his own mother, Mary. Whose time, who's right? From this story, we are asked to look at ourselves and to make comparisons as to whether, as Christians, you are more a Mary or you're more a Martha, whether you are like Mary or you're like Martha. Now, Martha's actions of sitting at Jesus' feet is a straight example of choosing to listen to the word and digesting the message, being totally consumed by its teachings. Now, Martha, on the other hand, was proactive, was being the ultimate host, the best host she could possibly be for this important guest that was in their home. Whose time and who's right? When I was training as a youngster, I was told that it was not wise to make comparisons, especially comparisons amongst my peers. I still think it is a good advice, good piece of advice. And as an entrepreneur, I was taught that a failure must be used as a tool for growth, because ultimately there must be a lesson to be learned from the experience, because chances are, if you don't learn these lessons, you will make the same mistake again and again. Whose time? Who's right? In digging deeper into this passage, I learned that the Greek word kai was used in verse 39, which is our verse of focus, and it meant also, and was often left out of translations. So the more literal translation would actually read like this: and she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at the feet of the Lord, was listening to his word. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat. So, I don't know how you feel about it, but this paints a very different picture than other translations. So I'll go to the obvious. This version stated that Martha sat at the feet of Jesus, sat at the feet of the Lord, and was listening. So maybe it has been her practice in the past that both would have sat at Jesus' feet and listened to his every word together. Could it be that on this occasion, the service that she sought to give was of a different nature than sitting at Jesus' feet? Could it be that Mary on other occasions would have helped Martha, her sister, with all the other things that Martha was now doing by herself? Clap your hand if you have never been distracted. Go ahead. Just clap and let me know that you have never been distracted. So what exactly is it to be distracted? Distracted as described in this passage. Whose time and who's right? Distracted is to be drawn away. The attention, you draw away the attention of or by something or someone. Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made for this special guest. Now, in all practicality, as we Jamaicans, when we have visitors, we like to put on a good show. So we can see through Martha's efforts and her frustration too, that she had to be doing this without any help. She had no help. Worse was the case of the gender biases of this culture. Even if the men were there, they were not expected to help with the catering. So that is for another story. We understand that as Jamaicans, we want things to look good and things to taste good too. Now, dibby thing can't work here. Talking to you guys out there who are Sunfest fans, Sunfest family. This is Jubilee year for Jamaica, Jamaica 60. There must be extra preparations for this show. Quality artists. So do we miss the Sunday lineup to be at church? Is this a meaningful distraction? Better yet, there's a constant need for us to stay ahead of the rest of the reconciliation officers at work, the real estate brokers that our competitors are, just to stay afloat even after this downtime experience from this pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. There's no time for morning prayers. That take too long. Joining up with the prayer team on Tuesday evenings, would that be a distraction? Now that we have an understanding of distractions, whose time, who's right. Some are petty, yes, but some are more substantial. The point is, they're still not the better thing. They're still not better than spending time at Jesus' feet. You know, Jesus told Martha when she complained that she was doing all the preparations by herself, and if Jesus cared, he said, "You are worried, upset about many things, but few are needed, or indeed only one, and Mary has chosen what is better. It will not be taken away from her." Now, I thought this was a charming way for Jesus to answer the complaint. It was so unlike the way he answered the Canaanite woman who asked for the healing of her daughter. He was making comparisons to tossing bread intended for children to the dogs. This manner was quite gentle, the way he dealt with this complaint from Martha. Great example too of how we answer our children who do not wish to finish school but to continue a hustle that they have developed last month and already making tons of money. But you know, they should read the Soca King's autobiography, Soca King Marshall Montano's autobiography, authored by his mother Elizabeth. And she thought that education was a must. To him, the Soca King and his brother, they had no choice. Who's right? Who's time? You know, for me, this passage had been a wake-up call some years ago as to who time really belongs to. As we pursue our careers, choices to drive a crisp car, elaborate plans made which do not include God, is not covered by his blood, what then would we have chosen? Would we have chosen the better? You know, we worry, we get upset over many things, but those things in the big picture is not essential, not needed, only distractions. Distractions to spending God-given time at Jesus' feet, in consuming his every word, time and opportunity to think about who really owns time. How will we change for the better? And what really is first in our lives? Be smart. Make the right choice and do it now.
Wow, alright. So I don't know if this is just me, but I actually really enjoyed that. Thank you so much, both of you. In Sister Rilette's message, it kind of brought about a new perspective in that there is nothing necessarily wrong with being a Martha, and if you really look at it, it sounds as though Martha could have possibly been there for multiple times, but this time she chose a different way to serve, and it kind of looks a bit more like us in a sense than usual, and it doesn't paint the image of Martha being bad per se, but that Martha again is like us, trying to serve in a different way. However, the primary focus of our service really should be in spending time with Jesus, doing things with Jesus. And based off of what she was saying, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like we all have a bit of Mary and Martha in us all. But let's hear from the people.
What I gain from the story is that even though you will be distracted by 1,000,001 things, it's best to follow the right path or follow what God has to say or what Jesus has to say. Because even though you left everything and you're not focused on so many things and you're focused on one thing, Jesus is always going to be there, and his word is more powerful than anything or anyone that has a hold or has something to say about what you have to do or what you're going to do. So yeah. How can you apply this to your life? For example, multitasking. It's good to multitask, but sometimes multitasking can be overshadowing. And I believe that you should focus on one thing. Focus on what is most important to you, whether that be, your spiritual life or what else you have going on, but make what is important to you the main focus. So I believe that even though you have a lot to do or there's much to be done, as some people like to say, the best thing is to maintain your focus on what you think is most important. Running around sometimes is not the best thing. So how I apply it in my life is that I focus on what's there right now than just going all over the place. It could be spiritually, it could be academically, or at that moment, it's just best to keep a level head when you're doing stuff. So yeah, thank you.
The story of Jesus' visit to Mary and Martha showed me that though doing the work of God is a good thing, Jesus primarily wants us to spend time with him. Basically doing this with Jesus more than for Jesus. In my life, before I go to work, I can spend time in the mornings to meet with Jesus, doing some devotions.
Mary and Martha both loved Jesus, and with him being their guest and friend, they both wanted to serve him. Martha was busy with the physical part of serving and thought Mary should be helping her. But Mary wanted to spend time with Jesus so she could learn more about him. Physical serving is important, but Jesus said in his own words, we must first seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else, physical serving and all else will be added unto us. Lord, may I set my priorities straight so I may sit at your feet as Mary did and learn more about you.
And with that said, we are now carrying this program to a close. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you did enjoy it. If you did, drop a like. That's the thumbs up icon that you'll see below this video. And add a comment of what you thought of the reading, any reflection, anything that you can apply to your life, so we can share it with other people. Because why not? Knowledge is free. Share it with everybody once you can, right? But definitely, let's continue to pray for each other and keep the faith. And definitely, let's try working on actually building that relationship, doing things with Jesus and spending time with him, even though of course still balancing it with doing the works, of course. I hope you have an amazing day. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this with others. If you'd like to see anything else on this channel, please comment that below. With that said, God bless.